I also wanted to look at more examples too. So not only just the two pictures I had, but just a few things here, and just kind of look at this, right? So in Buckingham Palace, guard canned for allegedly calling Kate Middleton names, right? So as reported by Radar Online, an 18-year-old Buckingham Palace guard was fired from his post ahead of the royal wedding after he allegedly slammed Kate Middleton in a Facebook post. So according to Radar Online, the post, which was removed, read, "Her and William drove past me on Friday, and all I got was a shitty wave while she looked the opposite way from me. Stupid stuck up cow, am I? Not good enough for them, posh bitch. Am totally with you on this one. Who really gives an AF about her?" Ooh, wow, someone, someone who was probably crowded by people, just waved at you. So again, it's just that this type of behavior, right? That again, obviously, an 18-year-old kid, not very mature, probably. But this type of behavior is not acceptable. If you're in a position of any kind of authority or any kind of position, it doesn't matter who you are. You have to always be careful of what you say, and especially technically they're your boss. So you probably shouldn't call your boss a stuck-up bitch, right? That is probably not a good idea. This is another thing about, again, the extent, and, because we always, ramble about freedom of speech, but we have to remember that in America, not all speech is free. We have limitations to our freedom of speech. Again, in the theater, you can't shout out fire, or you'll get fined. In a airport, you can't yell out bomb, or you're gonna get in trouble, right? We have limits to freedom of speech, for a reason, right? And especially when we're in a place of employment, you know, the job doesn't just end from 9 to 5, especially now because we have online presences that never stop, that are 24/7. What you do matters, and this may be a scary fact if you don't know this, but people are in positions where, guess what, you don't have that freedom. There are corporations and businesses that are monitoring your daily activity online. Now obviously, that doesn't affect most of us, but there are corporations that you have to, in order to be employed by them, you have to sign away your rights on your personal computer, that they monitor everything that you do on your personal computer. And more companies are going to be doing this in the future, and more companies really want to control your activity online. And again, and if you disagree, well, fight. You have to fight for those rights. But this is what's happening. Because we are an online community now. We give off vibes, right? Just as we would a normal person in everyday conversation. And so corporations are really invested in your online presence. And so you really have to think about these issues. Another example, and this is an interesting one: homeless shelter worker fired for calling job spooky. An employee at a residential facility for the homeless was fired after posting on Facebook about an overnight shift and apparently making light of the fact that many of the residents are mentally ill. According to National Labor Relations Board documents, she wrote, "Spooky is overnight third floor alone in a mental institution. By the way, I'm not a client, not yet anyway." The post was reported to the managers of the facility by a former resident who was a Facebook friend, or with Facebook friends with the employee. And so again, you just have to be careful about what you say. This is an interesting one too, right? Gay high school coach fired over Facebook photos. Um, a water polo coach at a California high school has fled. Again, filed. Okay, has filed. That's a weird font. Has filed a discrimination complaint against the school district after being fired over his Facebook photos. According to the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, a parent sent copies of the photos to the school's principal along with a letter declaring him unfit to coach. The photos showed him posing with two drag queens and about to eat a corn dog. Ooh, scary stuff indeed. But again, this is what's interesting. When you are in a service-based industry or community-based industry, what you do online matters. And if people hate gay people, guess what? You have to be very careful about your Facebook page. And so, again, it's just, you have to really think about it. And again, even though this is probably completely illegal in a way, but might be grounds for it, and so you have to really be careful, especially if you could get away with claiming that this photo was sexually suggestive, which might fall under the school's policies. So you just have to be careful. You have to remember that everything you do is monitored, analyzed. This is an interesting one too. A bank employee let go for posting about salaries. Excuse me, supervisor salary. Stephanie Bond, a former HR assistant at Britain's Lloyd banking group, was fired after posting a comment about the fact that her boss made more money than she. Well, surprising. And according to the Daily Mail, her controversial Facebook status update read, "LGB's new CEO gets £4,000 an hour. I get seven. That's fair." And so, even though this is kind of a sarcastic, flippant comment, just the fact that this information might not be common knowledge or is supposed to be public knowledge, right, is very important, right? And this is why she would get fired. The last one, and again, I'll post this for future um, uh, reference, but this is interesting too. A doctor fired for posting about trauma patient. According to the Boston.com, a 48-year-old Rhode Island doctor was fired after she posted information about a trauma patient on her Facebook page. While Dr. Than didn't reveal the patient's name, the hospital board concluded that she had posted enough information that people who knew the patient would know who Dr. Than was talking about. Not only was the doctor fired and reprimanded by state regulators, but she also had to pay $500 and attend a continuing education class. So these are just a few examples of how people were fired for certain Facebook posts. And again, you may consider some of these not overreactions, but the fact that they happen really show that you have to consider what you look like online. What you do online matters, right? And so just kind of consider these and read the rest of them. I'll post this as I said, I'll post this online for future reference, but you definitely want to really consider who you are online. So again, just what does this all mean? You just have to be careful, about who you are. Right? So again, let's just think about the positives, right? To gain corporate or field experience, make sure you look for internships. Make sure you're actively participating in the field now, and that's something that's very different. The problem with the recession is that businesses were always making money, and why is that a problem? Because employees suffered for it. Almost, except for small businesses, almost every, if not every, major corporation, and as far as I know, every Fortune 400 and Fortune 500 company made money during the recession. And they made huge amounts of profits too. CVS is a great example. CVS, even this year, made an enormous amount of profits. The government paid them come tax time. The recession has really told corporations that they could get away with so much. Look at who started the recession, right? Who were responsible. Now, obviously, people overspending helped, but the main people who really pushed for the collapse were banks, were real estate firms, and they didn't get punished at all. They got slight reprimands, but that's about it. In other countries, and again, it was a worldwide recession. In Switzerland, for example, in the Netherlands, for example, you have hundreds of people being sent to jail. In America, we just had one person, and he was basically a fall guy. He wasn't even a major controller in any of this. What the corporations learned during this recession is that they could make people fear their jobs so much that they will take on eight roles. Even just about 15 years ago, people would hire college graduates, college students to just file, do reception work, do light paperwork. They were hiring people because they had the money to do it. Guess what? During the recession, corporations still had the money to do it, but they didn't because they could make people afraid of losing their jobs so much that they would work 40 hours plus, that they would work 60, 80 hours a week. It's insane. If you look at the statistics of how many hours the average American works, it is crazy the difference between American workers and the rest of the world. You know, because we don't have a lot of systems in place. And so it's interesting that this is what the corporations have learned. And so what you have to do now is you have to be prepared. You have to realize who you are as a professional. And again, I'm speaking especially to, students in this class who are 18, it's just you have to really be more serious than you ever needed to be, beforehand. Again, in this current economic environment, it's difficult to enter and switch careers. And so you have to understand how to do that, how to navigate. You need a clear background that suits the sector you want to join, and it needs to start now. The good thing is, again, temp agencies exist, job agencies exist, right? That will help you gain specific professional experience, and you need to do it now. You need to have that active role now, and you can't just rely on that degree to speak for you anymore. You have to have concrete experience, and you have to know the field. Know how they talk in the field. You have to know all these things, and again, it's very overwhelming, but it's doable because again, people are getting jobs. People with college degrees are making money, but you have to really consider who you are and what you want to do and how serious you should be. Again, if you have any questions, always email. This was one of my specialties. Before I started working as a professor, I was a job sourcer. I worked in many corporate, not many, sorry. I've worked in several, I shouldn't say many, that's an exaggeration. But I've worked in several Fortune 500 companies, and so I know how corporations operate. And so, it's very important to just kind of really think about who you are, in today's market, because it's such a crazy market out there. And again, the internet is great because we could have access to so many jobs, but it's also detrimental because, again, those computer systems are really evil at times, for us employees. So if you have any questions, always feel free to ask. Please email. Please ask questions. Again, I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Take care as always, and just good luck finishing up the semester.